Why Ethiopia needs access to the sea. Ethiopia is one of the largest countries in Africa, with a fast-growing population, a developing economy, and increasing regional influence. It is a country with history, ambition, and long-term potential. But it also has one major limitation. It has no direct access to the sea, and that single reality shapes almost everything: trade, energy, security, and national sovereignty. It is not just an economic issue, it is a strategic one. In this video, we explore a critical question. Why does Ethiopia need access to the sea? This is not just geography, it is about power, it is about security, and it is about long-term positioning in a very complex region. Ethiopia was not always landlocked. For many years, it had access to the Red Sea through ports like Assab and Massawa, connecting the country to global markets and international trade routes. These ports were not just gateways, they were lifelines. Before the late 1990s, a large share of Ethiopia's trade passed through Assab, making logistics more efficient and more predictable. But the situation changed in the 1990s. Eritrea became independent in 1993, and although cooperation continued for a short period, tensions gradually increased. Then came the war between 1998 and 2000. After that conflict, access to Eritrean ports was cut off completely, and Ethiopia became landlocked. This was not just a political shift, it was a long-term strategic loss. So Ethiopia adapted. It redirected most of its trade through Djibouti, building new systems, new infrastructure, and new agreements. Today, more than 90% of Ethiopia's imports and exports pass through this single route. Djibouti became Ethiopia's economic lifeline, but dependence on a single corridor creates risk. It limits flexibility, increases costs, and creates vulnerability. If that route is disrupted, the entire economy feels the pressure. This is why access to the sea is not just about trade. It is about control. Control over logistics, control over supply chains, and control over national decision-making. But there is an even deeper layer: security. In today's world, access to maritime routes is directly linked to national security. A country without direct access must rely on others not only for trade, but for critical supplies: fuel, food, strategic goods. This creates a situation where external factors can influence internal stability. And for a country in a complex region like the Horn of Africa, that is a serious concern. Now we move to another key concept: sovereignty. Sovereignty is not only about borders, it is about independence in decision-making. It is about reducing reliance on external systems, and it is about maintaining strategic autonomy. When a country depends heavily on external routes and agreements, its sovereignty becomes partially constrained, not removed, but influenced. For Ethiopia, a country with historical depth and regional ambition, this creates a long-term strategic challenge. Now, let's widen the lens, because Ethiopia does not exist in isolation. The Red Sea region is one of the most strategic areas in the world. It connects Africa, the Middle East, and global trade routes. Major powers are present, regional actors are active, and competition is increasing. Countries like Egypt have strong interests in the region, partly because of the Nile, and partly because of broader geopolitical positioning. Other actors, including Gulf states and global powers, are also investing in ports, infrastructure, and influence along the Red Sea. This means that access to the sea is not just an economic question for Ethiopia. Now let's bring in another key factor: energy. Ethiopia has natural gas resources, especially in the Somali region. The Kalub and Halala gas fields have been known for decades. These resources have the potential to support electricity, industry, and economic growth. But development has been slow, and challenges remain. At the same time, fuel shortages affect daily life. Transportation becomes more difficult. Businesses face higher costs, and production slows down. Here is the key connection. Energy is not just about production, it is about movement. Even if Ethiopia develops its gas resources, they must be transported efficiently, reliably, and at scale. Without strong infrastructure, without diversified trade routes, and without access to ports, the full value of these resources cannot be realized. So when we connect everything, a clear picture appears. Ethiopia is landlocked. It depends heavily on one trade corridor. It has energy potential. It operates in a complex regional environment, and it aims for long-term growth. These are not separate issues. They are deeply connected. Trade, energy, security, sovereignty, regional strategy, all pointing in one direction. Access to the sea is not a luxury. It is a strategic necessity. Ethiopia's future will not be defined by geography alone, but by how it responds to it. The country has already shown resilience. It has adapted, built systems, and continued to grow despite limitations. But the next phase requires something more: strategic clarity, long-term thinking, and careful positioning in a rapidly changing region. Access, energy, security, regional influence. These will shape Ethiopia's future for decades to come. If you found this analysis useful, like the video, share it, and subscribe for more.